you have stage 4 cancer and you get a letter of notification saying that the medicine that you rely on may be ending in a year, that to me is an urgent care situation. But again, I can't stress this enough. Why is it incumbent upon our first responders to have to consistently push to get the benefits that are coming to them purely for their acts of valor?
It is a classic and tragic example of what have you done for me lately. 14 years ago, America watched as brave men, women, and rescue dogs worked around the clock to recover lives and bodies from the site of the World Trade Center. Those who dug in with no thought of their own safety, no thought of tomorrow, only realizing they were needed, and they were helping America recover from the single biggest terrorist attack on our soil. Flash forward to right now, this second, and we find ourselves ignoring the health needs of these heroes, in some ways spitting in their face and telling them their government has forgotten them. And more than a few heads should be hanging in shame. From the perspective of those who were there, he's a founder of the FealGood Foundation, whose motto is no responder left behind. He was a demolition supervisor at Ground Zero, John Feal. And from the perspective of lawmakers, veteran Republican representing New York's 2nd Congressional District, who never holds back, shoots from the hip, and makes our fellow New Yorkers proud every day. He's backing to put this back into action, Congressman Peter King. Gentlemen, I want to thank you both for joining us. And John, I'm going to begin with you. When the first responders bill, the extension, expired this week, did you feel as if your government had just slapped you in the face and said thanks for nothing?
One, thank you for having me. Two, back in 2010 when we got this bill passed, we knew we would be here today. And while I feel bad and I'm frustrated for the thousands that suffer, we knew this process, and we knew 5 years ago that we would be here. And I'm not surprised by anything that, no disrespect to Congressman King, who's been my champion, Congress is dysfunctional at best. And but we're also confident that we're going to get this bill extended by the end of the year.
But I have to ask again, do you feel as if your own country has given you the back of its hand and said, basically, thanks for putting your life on the line, thanks to those of you who may be suffering from cancer, thanks to those who died, but money, forget it, buddy, you're on your own?
Well, I've said it a million times. We can blame terrorists for 9/11 for killing innocent lives. I'll blame Congress for every 9/11 responder that dies from cancer and pulmonary fibrosis 14 years later. So, yes. I do feel like our government has let us down on many levels.
Congressman King, you're behind this. You're trying to make sure that this money gets back in. You're helping these people. But the question has to be asked, why are we even here? Why are we even discussing the fact that we've got to try and get these men and women the money that they deserve and the money that they earn? This is preposterous.
I agree. First, let me thank John for the great work that he's done over the years. And answer to your question as to why, there's absolutely no excuse. It's inexcusable. All I will say, and John and I are working on this almost around the clock, I am reasonably confident, you can never be confident, fully confident with Congress, that this will be extended before the end of the year. Why hasn't it been done up till now? Because in some ways it's out of sight, out of mind. It's not like the tragedy of seeing towers fall and people being killed right in front of you. These are people dying quietly and slowly in their homes, in hospitals. And it's not out there, and also it's looked upon, unfortunately, by many people as an issue confined to New York and New Jersey. And they say, how much more money do we have to give you people? You hear some of that, but a lot of it's just indifference.
Congressman, I'm jumping out of my chair right now when I hear that.
Don't get me wrong. It's no excuse.
I'm jumping out of my chair right now when you say that. When people say it's just people in New York, why are we giving them more money? That's incensed. I grew up in New York. I watched those towers. I was there. I have people that I know that are affected to this day. It's insane that we can't get these people the money. So, Congressman, who's at fault? Look, somebody is stopping this from going through. There's got to be a group of people or somebody who basically is not allowing this to happen. Who do we hit?
Actually, several years ago, it was being stopped. Right now, it's indifferent. But having said that, we are getting more and more names, and I've been assured by the Republican whip right now, Steve Scalise, who is probably going to become the next majority leader, been guaranteed this will pass by the end of the year. If that happens, no one will be hurt because there is enough money to get us through probably into next spring. And but again, I'm not taking anything for granted, and it's really a question of getting people to move. There's nobody intentionally blocking it. It's almost benign neglect, which is probably is inexcusable. I hate even answering the questions for you because it sounds like by answering it that I'm agreeing with this. I mean, it makes no sense. There is no excuse. I can't express to you the frustration I feel and the anger I feel when I talk to other members of Congress, but We have to get it done. It was a tough fight the last time. It took longer. We got it done. It was the last vote on literally the last minute of the Congress in December of 2010. And I don't want it to be that way again. I don't want these guys and these women out there who are suffering to go through the psychological trauma of not being sure that they're going to get the medical care that they're entitled to. We got to get it done. No excuse.
I got about a minute left here. John, I want to finish with you on this. The congressman's words, indifference and benign neglect, those are the ones that have me incensed at this moment. John, would you like to just go ahead and take pictures of x-rays showing cancer, showing death, showing the men and women in their caskets, and take them to Congress and say, look, this is what happens when you're a hero and you do your work and you're not helping us? Maybe that would help.
We do that all the time. I bring 9/11 responders to D.C. all the time with stage 4 cancer in wheelchairs and oxygen tanks. You know, I used to think it was ideologies, but it's ideologies that are preventing this bill from moving forward. But I'm confident, and I'm 100% confident, and I'll bet my one kidney, that we do get this done before the end of the year. And people need to realize that Congress has a 2-year turnover ratio. This is a totally different Congress now than it was in 2010. We have 182 co-sponsors in the House and 56 in the Senate. We will get this done, and those who are at home and watching this interview, I guarantee and I promise you that Peter King and Senator Gillibrand will get us to the finish line.
I got to tell you, folks, if it was Los Angeles, Peoria, Chicago, Miami, Boston, the first responders would have been there. It makes no difference where they are. Call your congressman. Call them today. Tell them to make sure that this bill gets through. John Feal, Congressman Peter King, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to stay on this story. It deserves every ounce of energy we put behind it. Stay with us. The fastest 60 minutes in news. The Hardline continues.